When Earth's last signal went dark, Commander, Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cold viewport of Lunar Station, watching Earth rotate peacefully below. The blue marble looked deceptively calm, but her instruments told a different story. Somewhere, in the darkness beyond Pluto, the largest invasion fleet in recorded history was approaching their home world. Commander, we're receiving the final evacuation reports from Earth. Lieutenant Rodriguez called from the communications array. His voice carried the weight of exhaustion that had settled over everyone during the past 72 hours. All non-essential personnel have been moved to the underground shelters. Military assets are in position. Sarah nodded grimly. Position for what, she wondered. Earth's combined fleet consisted of 47 ships, most of them barely equipped. For deep space combat, the approaching Draconian Armada numbered over 800 vessels, each one capable of glassing an entire continent. The mathematics were simple and terrifying. The Draconians had conquered 43 star systems in the past century. Their method was always the same: overwhelming force, complete subjugation, the elimination of any species that showed potential for future resistance. Intelligence reports suggested they saw humanity as particularly dangerous, not for their current technology, but for their rapid advancement and what the Draconians called unpredictable adaptability. Any word from the deep space monitoring stations? Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. The outer system had gone silent 6 hours ago, one by one, as the Draconian fleet swept through the solar system like a tide of death. Nothing, ma'am. Last transmission from Titan Base was at 0347 hours. They reported massive energy signatures before. Rodriguez's voice trailed off. Before they vanished, just like all the others. Sarah walked to the central command console, where holographic displays showed Earth's defensive positions. It was laughable, really. Humanity had been preparing for this moment ever since first contact with galactic civilization 15 years ago, when they learned they were not alone in the universe. But 15 years was nothing compared to the millennia of warfare experience the Draconians possessed. Commander, the voice belonged to Dr. Elena Vasquez, the station's xenobiologist. She burst into the command center with an expression of confusion and excitement. You need to see this. We're detecting some kind of massive energy signature from Earth's ocean floors. Sarah frowned. Ocean floors. Our underwater research stations were evacuated yesterday. That's just it, Elena continued, pulling up data streams on the main display. These readings aren't from our facilities. The energy patterns are completely unknown, and they're enormous. We're talking about power outputs that dwarf our largest fusion reactors, and they're coming from locations we've never mapped. The display showed Earth's oceans dotted with dozens of bright points of light, each one pulsing with energy signatures that defied conventional understanding. The Mariana Trench showed the largest concentration, with readings that suggested something the size of a city was active nearly 7 miles beneath the surface. How long have these been active? Sarah asked. That's the strange part. According to our historical data analysis, they've been there all along. We just never had the sensors capable of detecting them until now. It's as if something down there wanted to remain hidden, and only now has decided to reveal itself. Lieutenant Rodriguez suddenly straightened at his station. Commander, I'm picking up a transmission from Earth, but it's not from any of our facilities. Put it through, Sarah ordered. The voice that filled the command center was unlike anything any of them had ever heard. It carried a quality that suggested vast age and wisdom, yet it spoke in perfect English with an accent that seemed to belong to no particular region of Earth. Children of the third world, do not fear. You have been watched. You have been protected. The time of hiding is ending. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. This is Commander Chen of Lunar Station. Identify yourself. We are the Watchers. We are the Keepers. We are those who came before your species learned to walk upright. For 2 million years, we have slumbered in the depths of your oceans, maintaining the barriers that keep you safe from those who would do you harm. Elena's eyes were wide with amazement. 2 million years. That would put them on Earth before modern humans evolved. The voice continued, as if hearing her comment. Your species was chosen long ago, not for what you were, but for what you could become. The Draconians seek to end that potential before it can flourish. This will not be permitted. Sarah found her voice. The Draconian fleet is hours away from Earth. Our defenses won't hold them. Your defenses were never meant to. They were meant to demonstrate your courage, your willingness to fight against overwhelming odds. This quality is why you were selected. For protection, now watch, children, and learn what it means to be truly defended. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Sarah looked at the display showing Earth's defensive fleet, tiny specks of light positioned between their world and the approaching darkness. She thought of the millions of people in the underground shelters, preparing for the worst. Commander Rodriguez's voice was barely a whisper. Long-range sensors are showing the Draconian fleet. They're entering the outer system now. Sarah could see them on the tactical display, a vast cloud of hostile contacts, moving with terrifying purpose toward Earth. Each red dot represented a ship capable of ending human civilization. The mathematics hadn't changed. Humanity was still facing extinction, but something else was changing. The energy readings from Earth's oceans were intensifying, and now new signatures were appearing throughout the solar system. Whatever had been sleeping in Earth's depths was awakening, and it was not alone. Ma'am, I'm detecting massive gravitational anomalies near Jupiter, Elena reported, her voice filled with awe. Something is coming out of the gas giant's upper atmosphere, multiple contacts, and they're huge. The display updated, showing new objects emerging from Jupiter's roiling clouds. These weren't human ships, nor did they match Draconian design. They were something else entirely, vast graceful constructs that moved with impossible smoothness through space. Their hulls seemed to shimmer with an inner light, and their size dwarfed even the largest Draconian dreadnoughts. Similar contacts emerging from Saturn's rings, Rodriguez added, and from the asteroid belt. Ma'am, they're everywhere. How did we never detect them? Because they did not wish to be detected, the ancient voice returned. The Watchers have maintained guardians throughout your solar system since before your sun was young. We have waited for this moment when you would face your first true test as a species. Sarah watched in fascination as the guardian ships moved into formation between Earth and the approaching Draconian fleet. There were dozens of them, each one radiating power signatures that made human technology look primitive by comparison. "Who are you?" she whispered. "We are the remnants of the first civilization, the species that achieved transcendence when the galaxy was young. We have spent millions of years seeding worlds with potential, nurturing species that show promise, protecting them until they are ready to join the greater community of sentient life." The Draconian fleet had stopped. Even at this distance, Sarah could imagine the confusion and fear spreading through their ranks as they encountered something they had never seen before. The Draconians were conquerors, but they had built their empire by attacking worlds that couldn't fight back. This was different. The Draconians have spent centuries believing themselves the apex predators of the galaxy, the Watcher continued. They have never encountered a protected species before. Today, they learn the difference. Sarah watched the tactical display as the Draconian fleet began to spread into attack formation. Their massive numbers still giving them confidence despite the unexpected opposition. But something was wrong with their formation. Ships were beginning to drift out of position, their movement becoming erratic. "What's happening to them?" Sarah asked. "They are being reminded that space belongs to those who truly understand it. The Draconians have mastery of technology, but they lack wisdom. They have forgotten that the universe is vast and full of powers beyond their comprehension." One by one, the Draconian ships began to simply ... stop. Their engines went silent. Their weapons powered down. Their communications ceased. Within minutes, the entire invasion fleet had become a collection of drifting hulks. Their crews alive but helpless as their technology failed them in ways they couldn't understand. The Draconians will be returned to their home worlds, the Watcher explained. They will remember this day, and they will spread word throughout the galaxy that Earth and its children are under protection. No force in the known galaxy will threaten humanity again. Sarah felt tears streaming down her face as she watched Earth's salvation unfold before her eyes. Humanity had been prepared to fight and die to defend their world. But instead, they had been saved by guardians they never knew existed. "Why?" she asked. "Why protect us?" "Because you are what we once were, a young species with unlimited potential and the courage to face the unknown. Because in 2 million years of watching and waiting, you are the first species to show the same qualities that once drove us to transcendence. Because the galaxy needs protectors, not conquerors." As Sarah watched, the Guardian ships began to escort the disabled Draconian fleet away from Earth, their ancient hulls gleaming in the light of the distant sun. The crisis was over, but somehow she knew this was not an ending. It was a beginning. "Rest now, children," the Watcher's voice was fading. "But prepare yourselves. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders you cannot yet imagine. Your time of protection is ending. Your time of becoming protectors yourselves has begun." The transmission ended, leaving Lunar Station in profound silence. Sarah looked down at Earth, still blue and peaceful, still home. But now she understood that it was something more. It was the nursery of a species that had just taken its first steps into a much larger universe. The awakening protocol 6 months had passed since the Draconian fleet's disappearance, and Earth had settled into an uneasy peace. The knowledge that ancient guardians slept beneath the oceans had changed everything and nothing. Life continued, people went to work, children attended school, governments debated policy, but underneath it all was the awareness that humanity was no longer alone and never had been. Commander Sarah Chen descended through the Pacific Ocean in a specially modified research submersible, heading toward coordinates provided by the Watchers themselves. After months of careful communication, they had extended an invitation for humanity to visit one of their ancient facilities. Sarah had been chosen as Earth's representative, a decision that both honored and terrified her. Dr. Alina Vasquez sat beside her in the cramped cockpit, monitoring the descent instruments with barely contained excitement. "Depth approaching 7 miles, she reported. "The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever's down here, it's been dormant for a very long time, but it's definitely active now." Through the reinforced viewport, Sarah could see lights beginning to appear in the abyssal darkness. Not the harsh artificial illumination of human technology, but something organic and alive, pulsing gently with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to welcome rather than warn. "There," Alina whispered. "Do you see it?" Sarah pressed her face to the viewport and gasped. Rising from the ocean floor was a structure that defied every expectation she might have had. It wasn't built so much as grown, its curved surfaces flowing seamlessly into the surrounding seafloor. Spires twisted upward like coral formations, but they pulsed with inner light and displayed geometric patterns that spoke of intelligence and purpose. "It's beautiful," Sarah breathed. The facility was easily the size of a major city, spreading across miles of ocean floor. Gardens of what could only be described as space kelp swayed in currents that seemed to follow patterns of their own design, and creatures unlike anything in Earth's fossil record moved gracefully between the structures. Their submersible was guided to a docking bay by invisible forces, settling gently into a chamber that filled with breathable atmosphere despite being 7 miles underwater. As they disembarked, Sarah felt gravity adjust to normal Earth levels, though she had no idea how that was possible at such depths. "Welcome, Commander Chen. Welcome, Dr. Vasquez." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, resonating through the chamber itself. "We are pleased that you accepted our invitation." A figure emerged from what Sarah had taken to be a wall but was apparently some kind of environmental membrane. The being was tall and graceful, humanoid but clearly not human. Its skin held an opalescent quality that shifted between deep blues and purples, and its eyes contained depths that suggested eons of experience. "I am Keeper Zephyr," the being said, its voice now coming from a more recognizable source. "I am the current guardian of this facility and the liaison appointed to guide humanity's understanding of what comes next." Sarah found her voice. "Thank you for meeting with us. We have so many questions." Zephyr's expression, though alien, seemed to convey amusement. "I imagine you do. Please, walk with me. Understanding is best achieved through experience rather than explanation." They followed Zephyr through corridors that seemed to reshape themselves as they walked, the walls displaying scenes that Sarah gradually realized were recordings of galactic history. She saw the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth of stars, the development of countless species across millions of worlds. "This is the archive of the first civilization," Zephyr explained. "We were the first species in this galaxy to achieve what you might call transcendence, the ability to exist beyond the limitations of biology and physics as most species understand them. But with great power came great responsibility." They entered a vast chamber where holographic displays showed the current state of the galaxy. Sarah could see hundreds of star systems, many of them inhabited by species at various stages of development. Some were barely beginning to use tools. Others were taking their first steps into space, and a few showed signs of advanced civilization. "When we achieved transcendence, we faced a choice," Zephyr continued. "We could have become conquerors, using our abilities to dominate the galaxy. Many transcended species in other galaxies have chosen that path. Instead, we chose to become gardeners." Alina was studying the displays with fascination. "You've been guiding the development of species across the galaxy." "Not guiding," Zephyr corrected. "Protecting. We established the principle that no species should be exterminated or enslaved while they are still developing their potential. We became the guardians of the young civilizations, the protectors of the innocent." Sarah pointed to a section of the display that showed familiar constellations, and Earth was one of these protected worlds. "Earth was special," Zephyr replied, and Sarah could hear something like pride in its voice. Most species we protect follow predictable patterns of development. They grow in wisdom as they grow in power, becoming peaceful as they become capable of interstellar travel. Humanity is different. The display zoomed in on Earth's history, showing scenes that Sarah recognized from human archaeology and anthropology. But now she could see them from a different perspective, the gradual development of a species under careful protection. Humanity possesses a quality we had thought unique to the first civilization, Zephyr explained. You have the ability to face overwhelming odds and not only survive, but grow stronger. You adapt, you innovate, you refuse to accept defeat, even when defeat seems inevitable. Sarah thought about the draconian invasion, about humanity's willingness to fight despite being hopelessly outmatched. Is that why you saved us? We saved you because the galaxy needs what you can become, Zephyr replied. The protection system we established has worked for millions of years, but it is not perfect. There are threats arising that even the first civilization struggles to contain. We need allies, not subjects. We need partners who can stand beside us as equals. The display changed, showing regions of space that seemed darker than the rest. Areas where stars were going out and the very fabric of space-time appeared to be damaged. Sarah felt a chill as she realized she was looking at something that threatened not just individual worlds, but the galaxy itself. "What is that?" Elena whispered. "The Void Seekers," Zephyr replied grimly. "A force from outside our galaxy that exists to unmake everything we have built. They are not conquerors like the Draconians. They are destroyers in the purest sense. They want to return the universe to the emptiness that existed before the first stars formed." Sarah studied the displays, noting how the dark regions seemed to be expanding slowly but steadily. "How long do we have?" "We saved you because the galaxy needs what you can become," Zephyr replied. "The protection system we established has worked for millions of years, but it is not perfect. There are threats arising that even the first civilization struggles to contain. We need allies, not subjects. We need partners who can stand beside us as equals." The display changed, showing regions of space that seemed darker than the rest. Areas where stars were going out and the very fabric of space-time appeared to be damaged. Sarah felt a chill as she realized she was looking at something that threatened not just individual worlds, but the galaxy itself. "What is that?" Elena whispered. "The Void Seekers," Zephyr replied grimly. "A force from outside our galaxy that exists to unmake everything we have built. They are not conquerors like the Draconians. They are destroyers in the purest sense. They want to return the universe to the emptiness that existed before the first stars formed." Sarah studied the displays, noting how the dark regions seemed to be expanding slowly but steadily. "How long do we have?" "In galactic terms, not long. Perhaps 1,000 years before they reach the core worlds. But the Void Seekers are patient, and they have learned to corrupt species they encounter, turning them into agents of destruction. The Draconians were actually fleeing from them when they encountered Earth. Their aggression was born of desperation. The implications were staggering. Sarah realized that humanity had been saved not just from invasion, but had been recruited into a war that would determine the fate of the galaxy itself. "The protection protocols are ending across the galaxy," Zephyr continued. "Every species we have been nurturing is being awakened to the truth of their situation. They must choose, join the alliance of free worlds and fight for the galaxy's survival, or face the Void Seekers alone." Elena looked up from the displays she had been studying. "What does this mean for Earth, for humanity?" Zephyr's expression became solemn. It means that your childhood is over. You will be given access to technologies that will advance your civilization by centuries in a matter of years. You will learn to travel between stars as easily as you now travel between continents. But more importantly, you will become the guardians of other species who are just beginning their journey. Sarah felt the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on her shoulders. You want us to become protectors like you. We want you to become what you were always meant to be, Zephyr replied. The first civilization has grown tired over the millennia. We have maintained our vigil, but we have lost the fire that once drove us to greatness. Humanity still possesses that fire. You have the courage to face the impossible and the wisdom to know when fighting is necessary. They were led to another chamber where Sarah could see massive structures being constructed by forces she couldn't understand. Ships were taking shape that dwarfed anything in Earth's current fleet, but their designs incorporated human aesthetic choices alongside alien technology. These vessels will be crewed by humans and our other allies, Zephyr explained, but they will be commanded by humans. You have proven that you can make the hard decisions when necessary, and you have shown mercy to your enemies when possible. These qualities will be essential in the battles to come. Sarah thought about the magnitude of what was being offered and what was being asked in return. Humanity would join a galactic civilization, but as protectors rather than explorers. They would be given incredible power, but it would come with the responsibility to use that power wisely. When do we begin? She asked. Zephyr's expression conveyed what might have been a smile. You already have. The moment you chose to defend Earth against the Draconians, despite knowing you could not win, you demonstrated that humanity was ready. For this role, the moment you showed curiosity about us rather than fear, you proved that you could work alongside other species. As they prepared to leave the underwater facility, Sarah looked back at the ancient structures that had protected Earth for millions of years. Soon, similar facilities would be established throughout human space, and Earth would become not just a protected world, but a protector of other worlds. One last question, Sarah said as they boarded their submersible. Will we ever see you again? The first civilization. Zephyr considered this. We will be there when you need us most. But the galaxy belongs to the younger species now. It is your time to shape the future, to decide what kind of universe your children will inherit. We have faith that you will choose wisely. As their submersible rose toward the surface, Sarah looked down at the lights of the Watcher facility fading into the abyssal darkness. Above them waited a world that would soon learn it was part of something much larger and more wonderful than anyone had dared to imagine. The age of humanity's childhood was ending. The age of humanity as galactic guardians was about to begin. Asterisk.